Savannah Guthrie and her siblings releasing a new social media video telling their mother's possible kidnapper that they are willing to pay a ransom for Nancy's return. Alicia Acuna is live outside Nancy Guthrie's house in Tucson with the very latest. Good morning, Alicia.
Good morning, Peter. It's been 1 week since Nancy Guthrie was reported missing, and her family is once again pleading with whoever took her to bring her home.
We received your message, and we understand. We beg you now to return our mother to us so that we can celebrate with her. This is the only way we will have peace. This is very valuable to us, and we will pay.
The FBI tells the Associated Press when Savannah says in that video, quote, "We received your message," she is referencing a second alleged ransom note sent via email to local TV news station KOLD on Friday. KOLD says that email, which they have not released to the public, did not contain proof of life of Nancy Guthrie. Separately, KGA 9, another local TV news outlet which received one of the original ransom notes, says the demand is $6 million in Bitcoin and threatened Nancy's life if it's not paid by Monday at 5 o'clock. Last night, investigators were inside Savannah's sister Annie's home for about 2.5 hours. Fox News Digital saw what appeared to be flashes coming from a camera in the garage and also in another part of the house. As they left, a deputy was seen carrying a brown paper bag out of the house. It did not appear that any family members, however, were there at the time. Last night, around 7 o'clock in the evening, 2 sheriff's deputies arrived here at Nancy Guthrie's home. It is unclear why, but the Fox flight team's video captured these images of someone in the back of the home searching with flashlights in the desert terrain. Peter, Pima County Sheriff, the department here, says they are aware of the video that the Guthries posted, and right now they have no suspects and no person of interest. Back to you.
And Alicia, something you were just talking about, investigators at any level don't just go somewhere after dark to take a bunch of pictures like they were doing at Annie Guthrie's house last night. Do we have any idea what they were trying to shoot?
We do not know at this time, but the fact that one of those agents was wearing latex gloves when they went in and out, they also had this white folding table, they brought things out in paper bags. We don't know for sure, but those are a lot of things that we've seen in past cases when authorities are collecting evidence of some sort. So you make a good point. Why would they be there taking pictures when the family is no longer there? We've seen authorities here at Nancy Guthrie's house return multiple times in the evening, in the daytime, but a lot of work at night. Same goes with Annie Guthrie's house. And that house also, she lives there with her husband.
And Alicia, because there is so little information, official information from the sheriff's office there or from the FBI, a lot of concerned members of the public are turning to tips from the neighbors and others for information about this case. The Daily Mail's got one. A woman says that she told detectives that Nancy Guthrie's roof is too white because in the desert, the roofs, especially after it rains, get really dirty really quickly. So the thought is that maybe there were some roofers or contractors or somebody up on the roof, and then the authorities go check the roof and they found a camera days into this search. Do you know how seriously the officials, the county sheriff and the FBI, are taking tips like that one?
From what they're saying, they're taking every tip and every lead very seriously. I saw that same rumor online, someone pointing out how white the roof was here. And it was days after she had disappeared that they actually got ladders out and went up on that roof and then took down and dismounted that device. A lot of questions about why that happened and also when it happened, because it did come so late. There are a lot of sleuths out there on the internet, as we know, and a lot of times the tips are helpful. Who knows? Maybe authorities saw someone say that and went, we got to go up there and check and understand. And when it comes to maybe her roof was redone, it is possible. And they are talking to literally everybody they can think of or have been pointed toward to talk to who's been in contact with Nancy Guthrie. That goes for the person who works in the pool. That goes for the gardener, anyone who's helped her with her health. And if that roof was recently treated, they were likely talking to that person as well.
Alicia Acuna, we will be back to you with updates as you have them. Thank you so much. All right, for more, let's bring in the former Today Show co-host, now the host of Hot Mics with Billy Bush. Billy Bush. Billy, thanks for being here. You used to work at NBC with Savannah Guthrie. What is your take on what's going on with her mom, especially now that this video the family dropped has removed the demand for a proof of life?
I know. I feel like I'm watching some kind of streaming series, you know? It's like, this can't be real. It's the most surreal thing in the world. This woman that everybody feels like they know on the Today Show is all of a sudden addressing a camera, talking to a kidnapper about ransom. We will pay your demands. It's like, real? How is this even possible? So I think there's just a ton of dismay. The tone in Savannah's second posting yesterday was notably more beaten down, sad, wearing the same clothes as she was wearing in the first one. She's obviously, you know, getting no sleep at all. Some people are reading into that this could be a sign that, you know, we want the return of our mom so we can celebrate with her. What does that mean? I would not, you know, at this point go speculate. I frankly think it's, there's reason to be very hopeful and optimistic. I mean, you know, the report is that there's, at Monday by 5 o'clock, they want a $6 million Bitcoin ransom. That means that Nancy Guthrie as well. And, you know, $6 million for NBC is a quick stroke of a quick hit send. And they should be able to get that done very easily. And I don't, you know, the idea that Nancy Guthrie would be at that point, you know, this is obviously a greedy little somebody who understands how VPNs work, virtual private networks, and how to hide your internet address. And, you know, seriously enough that the FBI, you know, can't seem to get there now in its 8th day. But I believe that money will be exchanged, and let's get Nancy back, and then let's find them and let these people meet the ultimate consequences.
And, Billy, we've got some crazy new video from overnight. The Pima County Sheriff was in the house at an Arizona Wildcats basketball game last night. Can this guy read the room? Or is it okay for this sheriff to be at an NCAA event while the entire world is waiting for an update about Nancy Guthrie from him?
I don't think most of the world was very impressed with his first update. So if that means that, you know, he's at the game, if that means that the FBI has taken over, then that's a good thing. Stay at the game. I'm sorry, his first update, I was so frustrated watching him meander around the microphone in details. And, I'm sure he's a lovely man, but this is a serious thing. And I think our our best and our finest should be on it. And maybe that means FBI is, they've got him in the background.
And we are going to have updates about Nancy Guthrie as we have them, but we do want to get to some other topics with you, Billy. There is an Olympic spoiler ahead. Lindsey Vonn had a horrible crash overnight, 41 years old. She was racing on skis on a ruptured ACL. Do you think this is the last that we're going to see of her in a Winter Olympics?
With anyone else at 41 years old, 84 World Cup, championships, 8 World Championships, 3 Olympic medals, the gold in Vancouver. I mean, with anyone else, I'd say they're absolutely done. But with Lindsey Vonn, she's like the Tiger Woods of skiing. Maybe that's why they dated. She's just indestructible. She'll put herself back together. We may see her again. This is her 5th Olympics. She did get onto the snow. She made it 13 seconds before clipping her right shoulder on that gate, and it is, oh my God, the gasps in the crowd. Snoop Dogg in his giant white fur, just, it was, anyone else, I'd say no, but Vonn, maybe.
And the other big sporting event tonight, Super Bowl, Bad Bunny is talking about the halftime show he is going to do. I'm going to play this short clip.
Okay.
I know that I told them that they had 4 months to learn Spanish. They don't even have to learn Spanish. They just, it's better if they learn to dance.
But this is a guy who canceled the U.S. dates on his world tour because he thought ICE was going to come and hassle his fans. Do you think he's going to be able to resist using the biggest platform for an entertainer that there is to take a dig at ICE?
He will, I don't think it'll be a dig at ICE. I think it'll be about immigrants living in America and the beauty of America and the tapestry. I think he's going to go high road. I don't think it's going to be low road. I think ultimately most people will agree that it was well done. I know there's a Turning Point USA competing show that's got probably Kid Rock as the headliner, maybe Nicki Minaj, who, by the way, Charlie Kirk hated. Who knows? Bad Bunny's ratings will be through the roof. Donald Trump knows more than anybody. Any press is good press, and even if it's bad press, people will be checking out. I don't think the TP USA show is going to be that big. I mean, Kid Rock, he's barely on key these days.
Well, we'll see. We will see. Everybody's got an option, and everybody should listen to the Billy Bush Hot Mics with Billy podcast. Thank you so much for coming in. Enjoy the game. Who's going to win? Billy, who's going to win? Patriots or Seahawks? Who you got?
I'll tell you right now, it's going to be the Seahawks, and it's going to be a blowout. I'm going to Poly Market right now. They'll cover that 4.5 easily. They're too darn good. Jackson Smith in Jigba.
Blowout.
MVP.
All
That
right.
guy's unbelievable.
Well, we can clip this and play it back if you're wrong. Just a reminder.
I'm never wrong. I'm never wrong, Deuce, ever.
All right. That's why you're the perfect guest. Thanks again, Billy.
Hey everyone, I'm Emily Campagno. Catch me and my co-hosts Harris Faulkner and Kaylee McEnany on Outnumbered every weekday at 12 p.m. Eastern, or set your DVR. Also, don't forget to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page for daily highlights.